Good morning, and welcome to Practical Yoga. Not just a practice, this is really about taking yoga off the mat today. Some of the things that and also too, the mat is useful, let's face it. And it's interesting, I was thinking how a lot of yoga classes are a lot of movement standing, and we do some of that. But we don't spend much time in our adult lives on the ground, on the earth. And one of the reasons that we start our classes on the ground is because it is grounding. We're connecting ourselves, and we're also taking the pressure off of standing. Let's face it, gravity, poor posture, or just sitting or standing in the same posture all day, which a lot of people have to do. If it's a bank, if it's a retail outlet, I don't know if it's ever crossed your mind, but I look at these people because we get frustrated and annoyed we can't even find them. Well, they're probably hiding. It's like, I can't deal with one more human being who's going to ream me out for something that has nothing to do with me. So with those few words, let's get started on our back. And what we're going to do is start with pelvic tilts, because if we have any issues in our lower back, then we can kind of detect them and gently notice what's going on. And this is the whole thing, we're also going to talk about compassion today. And compassion should start with us, where we really take note of where we hurt, whether it's emotional or physical, and apply some compassion. So with those few words, let's get started. Come on onto your backs. And in our pelvic tilts, what I want to suggest is that you never lift your butt off the floor. So you are going to bend your knees, and you're going to place the soles of your feet on the floor, and your toes should be pointing towards the front of your mat. So not sideways or inwards, pigeon-toed. Then lift your shoulder blades up and tuck them under your heart. Tilt your chin towards the center of your chest to lengthen the back of your neck. So when we do our pelvic tilts, you're really bringing your pelvis towards your face. So we're going to start in a neutral position, which means your lower back is slightly off the floor. And I'm going to repeat it. Do not take your butt off the floor. So on an exhale, tilt your pelvis towards your face. It's a small move. You will feel your abs engage, and you're going to press eventually your lower back into the floor. So you may be feeling things in the lower pelvic region. I don't know, and then as you exhale, of course, release. So you're going to have to do this on your own breath, but you're not lifting anything off the floor. You're literally just tilting your pelvis towards your face, towards the top of your mat, pressing your lower back into the mat, whatever amount feels right. And of course, exhaling to release the tilt so that your lower back has space between it and the mat. Exhaling on your tilt and inhaling to release. Last week we talked about the directions of the spine. So flexing is tilting. In the tilt, you're flexing. And when you release the tilt, you're extending. So just take this 2 more times, coordinating your breath with what appears to be a very small action, but really key for an area of the body that can experience a lot of tension and stress. So come back into neutral. When you're done, just take a breath there, checking in with your lower back, with your pelvic area. And then take your arms out to the side, shoulder height. You decide if you want your palms to face down or your palms up. You're externally rotating your arms when your palms are facing up, and you're a little more open in the shoulder and chest area. And then lift your feet off the floor and bring your knees up towards your body. And let's make right angles with the upper leg to the torso and the lower leg to the upper leg. So you're in a nice right angles, inhaling in place. And if you decide you want to turn your hands, partway through, or check out what works best, go for it. Now, let's press the lower back into the floor at this point. Feel your core engage and slowly take both knees over to the left side and turn your head to the right. Please keep your opposite shoulder on the mat. Inhale, bring your knees back to the center. Keep your feet, your knees, and your thighs glued together if you can. Exhaling as you lower both knees over to the other side and turning your head to the opposite side. So take your time here, be gentle. Inhaling back to center. You may be feeling a little something in the lower back. Be there, check it out, apply compassion. It's actually a version of ahimsa, no harm. Ahimsa is a Sanskrit word for do no harm. But as we continue to go back and forth, inhaling, if you will, to center, and if you're on your own breath, please continue with that. And exhaling as you lower the legs over to the side, noticing what's going on in your lower back, maybe increasing the mobility. One more time, inhaling to do both sides. One last time. You're always exhaling as you lower your legs, and you're inhaling when you bring them up. Take your time. Kind of exploring what might be happening inside. At least be aware of what's going on inside. And inhaling, coming back to center. And now please draw your knees into your chest and wrap your arms around your knees. And take a big breath in and really let out whatever tension or stress. Some of us getting ready to go away on big trips, that's a lot of stress to pack and organize the house and water the plants and say goodbye to the pets if you have them and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter what we're doing, there's always stressors, but we can release and let go. Now, place your hands underneath the backs of your knees to rock up, or if it feels better, roll over onto your side and come on up onto all fours. Cat-cow tilt. So this is an extension of pelvic tilts. This takes it a little bit further now. This creates space through the vertebra for the spine. So your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. As you exhale, I want you to start with your tail and finish with your head. So start with your tail. Notice the movement going up your spine as you bring your chin towards your chest. And then once again, curl your toes under, but begin the movement with your tail to hollow out your lower back, to lift and lengthen through the upper body. And then again, initiate the movement on your exhale. Start with your tailbone. Moving up the spine, rounding it, of course, pulling your bellies in and then tucking your chin. Really exaggerate this to create the space and stretch your spine, and then curl your toes under. Begin with your tail. So really isolate here, lifting your tail, because the tail will initiate the opening in the lower back, lifting, stretching through the upper part of your spine. Exhaling, begin with the tail. Practicing with great diligence and awareness to be proactive in protecting and healing the body. And your last time, your toes are curled under, you're beginning with your tail. Arcing in the lower back, lifting. And coming back to neutral, tabletop your spine. Your neck is part of your spine. Bring your knees in a little bit closer now and extend your right leg out behind you and your left arm straight out in front of you. So balancing here, reaching and stretching a lot. Exhale, release back down. Inhale, opposite arm and leg, reaching and stretching. Exhale, back down. One more time on each side. Inhaling to lengthen and stretch. Prefer the hand that's on the floor, press all your 5 fingers into the mat. Exhale, release. Inhale, stretch. For those of you who have pets, you know this is what they do several times in a day. Next, let's stretch again, opposite arm and leg, and now let's crunch and bring the elbow under the body and the knee to the elbow. Inhale, stretching. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, stretch, really stretch. Exhale, elbow to knee. Last time, inhaling and stretching. Exhaling, elbow to knee, and bring everything back down. Inhale, the opposite arm and leg straight out and stretching. Exhale, elbow to knee. The slower you go, the more muscles you use as you stretch. Exhaling, inhaling. Make these moves as smooth as you can. If you press all your fingers into the floor, you'll have a stronger wrist and forearm crunching. Last time, inhale, stretch. Exhale, elbow to knee, and bring your hand back down. And now let's thread the needle and work the upper part of the spine and the cervical neck by inhaling and sweeping the left arm up, twisting the spine. Exhale, reach under your arm, lower your shoulder, the side of your face onto the floor, and tippy toe the fingers, if it feels okay, out in front. If it doesn't, keep it under the shoulder. And just breathe here. So this is the chant of compassion. And Deborah Premal is the artist. She is coming to Toronto in May to the Queen Elizabeth Theatre. I'm kind of disappointed at the price of the tickets. I find them a little steep for this sort of thing, but it is what it is. Okay. Draw the arm in front, back, and press up. Doesn't mean I won't go. I may pony up. I'll empty my piggy bank because it is a beautiful thing to hear her perform. Okay, let's raise the other arm up and exhale. If you've never heard the Sanskrit, and then again, extend the other arm straight out in front. If you've never experienced chanting mantra, this sort of singing, I will tell you that Deborah Premal is definitely one of the finest of the bunch that are out there. It'll be glorious, absolutely glorious. I've seen her at least once, maybe twice, and a few other people, but she's probably close to my favorite. And draw the arm in front, walk it back, press up, take your knees wide apart, flatten the tops of your feet, and slowly press your hips back towards your heels into a modified child's pose. Releasing your forehead either to the floor or creating a pillow with your forearms or one fist stacked on top of the other. Breathing into your side and your back ribs. Inhale, come up. Draw your knees in towards one another. Curl your toes under and lift your hips up. Now take a look at your feet. I want you to be sure that they're pointing towards the front of your mat. And then we'll pedal out our feet by bending one leg and straightening the other, relaxing your neck and changing slowly. Stay with one leg until you really feel the stretch and start to feel a release. Again, be sure you're pressing your fingers, your fingertips right into the floor. So changing when you feel ready to straighten and bend one. Give your head a swing just to be sure that you're letting go of any tension or stress. And then press your sits bones towards the back wall. Keep your knees relatively soft. Press your chest towards your knees, your thighs. So you're lengthening your spine. Inhaling, coming up onto the balls of the feet. Exhaling, come down onto your knees. Flatten the tops of your feet. And then release your torso right onto your thighs this time in child's pose. And at this point, you may need to make a pillow with your forearms to release your forehead. If your forehead goes to the floor, then bring your arms beside your body. If you had a big breakfast, reduce your compression of your abdominal area by creating height for your head. Again, feel the breath as it moves the back and side ribs out and in. And then release the arms, curl the toes under, walk your hands back towards your feet. Let your upper body hang. Let your head hang. And then pressing into the floor with your feet, slowly roll up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Let your head be the last thing to come up. And then inhale the shoulders up to the ears. Interlock your fingers behind your back. Spread your feet a little wider apart. And then bend your knees, lift your heart up, looking up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And on an exhale, leading with your heart, forward fold, releasing your torso between your thighs. Then release your hands Slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time. And then roll your shoulders back. Interlock your fingers the opposite way. You'll know, you'll feel it. Inhale, bend your knees, lift your heart. Exhale, forward fold. Releasing the head. Bringing the arms up, whatever height you're able, without harm. And releasing the arms. And once again, slowly rolling up one vertebra at a time. And then lifting the shoulders up to the ear, exhale, rolling them back. So we're going to review both half sun salutations and then the full sun salutations. Again, these are if you know, we're going to have a bit of a hiatus. I hope that we'll all do a little bit of work, and this is one way we can. So feet are parallel to one another. Outsides of feet are parallel to the outsides of your mat. So your toes are actually closer together than your heels. So look down, and your heels should be lining up with your sits bones. So they're not as wide as your physical outside of your hip. It's your heels lining up with your sits bones. So half sun salutations. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, turn the palms out. Bend your knees and swan dive onto your thighs. You're coming into a tuck position. Fingertips tented on the floor. On an inhale, lift your hips. Let your head hang, please. Lengthen your spine. Feel the stretch in the backs of your legs. And then exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips, come into a tuck. So you're lengthening your spine, pushing your shoulders back, and then inhale, sweep the arms out to the side. Feel your thighs powered up. Palms come together, then exhale, turn the palms out and float your arms down. Inhale. Turn the palms out, exhale, swan dive onto your thighs, fingertips tented on the floor. Inhale, lift your hips. Now, for those of you whose legs are really long, I should have mentioned this earlier, but if you want, you can grab your blocks and place your hands on your blocks if you're not able to straighten your legs or get a good stretch in the back. You can put the blocks under your hands. Exhale. Drop your hips, coming into your tuck position. Your torso should be resting on your thighs. Press your shoulders back, lengthen your neck. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side. Feel the power of your thighs pushing you back up. Palms come towards one another, then turn them out and float your arms down, taking up lots of space. Again, use the muscles. Be intentional about stretching and slowly releasing, exhaling gently. Fingertips tented on the floor. Exhale, lift your hips. Can you keep your belly on your thighs? This is where a big belly comes in handy. And then relax your neck and give your head a bit of a swing so you know you're not holding your head up. Please don't hold it up. Exhale. Bend your knees. As you bend your knees and your torso is still on your thighs, press your shoulders back. And then inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead. Exhale, float your arms down, taking up lots of space. So, simple tip. We're hanging out waiting for dinner, or we're waiting for Godot, we're waiting for something. Let's just review mountain pose. So, or maybe you're going to the art gallery. I still haven't seen Leonard Cohen. I got to get there and see that exhibit. I hear it's great. So, lift your toes off the floor. Feel your big toe mount, your baby toe mount. Once again, if you can, your feet are parallel to one another. So it's your big toe mount, your baby toe mount, center front of your heel. As soon as you do this, you're already starting to engage your thigh muscles. Now, if they're not fully engaged, lift up on your kneecaps And then lower your toes down, just let them float down. Sternum, this is where we collapse, most of us during the day, especially when we're doing this. Lift it up. Shoulders go back. Chin floats horizontal, parallel to the floor. It's not up in the air, it's just parallel to the floor. Eyes are fixed on an imaginary horizon, and the crown of your head is floating up. Remember last week we talked about axial extension? I'm going to show you something too at the end of the class, although I'll just give you a heads up. If you can reach, it depends on how high your doors are at home, but when you reach up to the door or the frame of the door, whatever it is, and you're lifting your heels off the floor because you had to reach up so high, I want you to continue to hang on and lower the heels as much as you can. So this is like an inversion table, only you're so this is the axial extension. And this is what I want us to think about when we're not in yoga class. Are we lifting and extending, not dropping into our hips? Okay? So that's it. Tadasana, you're waiting for your coffee? Stand up nice and tall. Okay, let's come up to the fronts of the mats for the brilliant Surya Namaskar, paying homage to the sun, which is above us, somewhere above the clouds. Inhaling in place, exhale, hands in prayer. Feet apart, reach up, look up, gently lengthen as you arc back whatever amount feels good. Inhale, bring your feet back together, lift up out of your waist, reach forward as you hinge, stretch, stretch, and stretch some more. Fingertips tented on the floor. Let your heads hang, step your left leg back, drop the knee to the mat. Bring your hands onto your other thigh. Focus your gaze for balance. Inhale, lift that knee off the floor and press through that back foot. Keep your torso right over your hips. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Focus your gaze. Holding the invisible beach ball. Shoulders stay down. Sternum stays lifted. Rib cage stays in. Turn your hands forward. Spread your fingers apart. Bring them to either side of your front foot. And come on into whatever version of plank is going to work for you today, whether your knees are on the mat or off the mat. Pressing all 10 fingers into the mat. Engage your core. Pull your bellies in. Reaching through the crown of your head. Pressing through your heels. Breathe. Developing titiksha, the ability to endure hardship, and developing strength in the core and arms and shoulders. Release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, leave your hands where they are, and slowly take your hips back towards your heels. To stretch, extend your spine, shoulders, arms, chest. Leaving your hands where they are. Stay nice and low. As you come forward, forearms and elbows on the floor when you can, and then keeping your bum up in the air, release your chest and your chin. And then slowly slide everything out behind you. Align your fingertips with the edges of your shoulders. Place your forehead on the mat. Bring your elbows into your side body. And press your elbows and forearms down towards the floor, getting the shoulders away from your ears and your shoulder blades down your back. Roll an invisible alley with your nose, lengthening your neck. Even though your fingers and hands are on the floor, as you inhale, you're going to press your hips and pelvis into the floor, lifting head, neck, shoulders, chest off the floor. using the muscles of the back. Eyes opened or closed, floating up towards the center of your forehead, between your eyes, Ajna chakra. One more breath in to lift. Exhale to lengthen and lower. Curl your toes under. You can come up onto your knees first or lift your hips up and then walk your feet a couple of inches forward. Bend your knees. Press your belly towards, if not on your thighs, your chest towards your knees, all 10 fingers pressing into the mat, ears aligned with your inner arms. Now, send your sits bones towards the back wall. Even before you straighten your legs, you're lengthening your spine and then pressing your heels towards the floor. So there's a stretch and strengthening component. You're strengthening your upper body, your arms and your shoulders, your wrists, and you're stretching your spine, your calves and your Achilles tendons. And you're inhaling and absorbing earth telluric energy. So it's a very energizing posture, and it's also an inversion. Your head's lower than your heart. Good for the face, the brain, everything above the heart. Now lift the left leg up, look at your left hand, and swing that foot as far forward as you can. If it didn't go far, drop the opposite knee, pick the foot up at the ankle, and bring it forward. Other leg comes forward. Let your head hang. Uttanasana. Let it all go here. Really let your upper body hang out. And breathe. Arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs by lifting up on your kneecaps and pull your bellies in and sweep the arms in front, reaching up, feet apart for balance. Look up and arc back. Inhale, bring your feet back together. Lift up out of your waist. Exhale, reach forward. Bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up and overhead. Hands in prayer, just lightly touching, and bring them down to your heart center, Anjali Mudra. And release your arms down. Let's do one more round, inhaling and exhaling, hands in prayer, lightly touching. Step your feet apart, reach up, look up, arc back. Inhale, feet come back towards one another. Lift up out of your waist, axial extension. Exhale, reach forward as you fold from your hips. Fingertips touch the floor, head hangs. Step your right leg back, drop the knee to the mat, bring your hands onto your front left thigh, focus your gaze, lift the back knee off the floor, keep your torso right over your hips. Inhale, sweeping up, pressing through your back heel. This will be the anchor of your posture. You can press your heel towards the floor, maybe a little bit of wobbling, that's normal in balancing. You're working more of your proprioceptor muscles, all good. Turn your hands forward, spread your fingers apart to distribute the weight that you're about to hold in plank, or, of course, you can drop your knees to the floor and then cross your feet at the ankles. So if this isn't feeling good on your wrists or your shoulders or arms, you're going to bring your knees to the floor. Think about extending and reaching through the crown of your head, pressing all 10 fingers into the mat. Feel your core engage, activated. Those muscles are active. Breathing. And then release your knees, flatten the tops of your feet, take your hips back towards your heels slowly. Leave your hands exactly where they are to maximize the stretch through the shoulders, lengthening the spine, And of course, a beautiful compression on the abdominal organs and glands helps to purge the waste, the toxins, impurities. So it's rejuvenating for these organs and glands to have the compression. And as we start to release and come forward, fresh arterial blood is going to rush in to nourish. So come forward, keep your bum up in the air, keep your upper body low. I hope this posture is becoming a little more accessible. If it was difficult, perhaps just less difficult. It may seem counterintuitive that this is great for your spine, given the position, but all sources point to the tremendous benefits. Slide everything out behind you. Flatten the tops of your feet. Align your fingertips with your shoulders, elbows into your side body, and press your forearms down to the floor. Really notice the movement of your shoulders and shoulder blades away from the ears and down your back. Press your hips and pelvis into the floor. Roll an invisible alley with your nose until you're looking straight down. You may wish to separate your feet if you're going to go beyond baby cobra, but let's all of us inhale. Lift the head, neck, shoulders, chest off the floor. And then if you wish to go further, press the floor away from you, keeping your elbows aligned with your wrists and your shoulders. Eyes floating up towards Ajna Chakra, the seat of intuition, higher than instinct. One more breath in. Exhale, lengthen as you lower slowly. Curl your toes under. Inhale, lifting up, pressing up. Walk your feet a couple of inches forward. Look at your feet. Be sure that they're pointing straight towards the front of your mat. Press all 10 fingers into the mat, and then press your belly onto your thighs. Your knees are bent. Press your chest towards your knees. Align your ears with your inner arms and give your head a bit of movement here. So again, you know you're not holding it in any position. You're just letting it align itself with the rest of your spine. And on an exhale, press your sits bones towards the back wall first, then press your heels towards the floor. So you get great extension here in your spine, space between the vertebrae, allowing the discs space to be plump. Remember, hydration is super important for every aspect, every activity of the body requires fluid to get the nourishment into the cells and get the garbage out of the cells. So right at the nanoparticle level, really important. Feel that stretch in the backs of your legs. And then lift your right leg up, look at your right hand, and swing that foot as far forward as you can. Other leg forward, and let your head hang. Feel what it feels like to just let go here. Let your spine and your vertebra stretch out naturally. Bringing your arms beside your ears. Engage your thighs, pull your bellies in. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the in front, feet apart for balance. Look up, reach up, arc back. Inhaling, lift up. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, reaching up. Bring your hands together lightly and draw them down to your heart center. And then flat out for a moment on your backs. Take a sip of water if you need to. and allow the benefits of your performance to be absorbed. Turning your palms up, letting your feet splay out, allowing your body to be soft and heavy. This is how we let the body absorb. It's kind of like digestion, digesting, absorbing the benefits of our actions. Being aware of your breath. Long, slow, deep breathing is the key for opening up tightness in the nerves and the muscles. Breath is also the key for self-awareness, for presence. Any kind of tension, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, creates blockages in the body, which creates stagnation, basically blockage of any kind of flow. And when we think, and of course we don't even have to think about how the body works, it just works until it doesn't work, then we've got a problem. But think about the flow of information from brain to nerves, the neurotransmitters, the neuropeptides. We do not want to interfere or impede in any way with the flow. So by releasing tension, by managing stress, by practicing yoga, by being aware of whether or not you're fully breathing, and more importantly, that second part of the breath, which is exhaling. So even right now, why don't you just try something called samavritti, which is equal fluctuation in breathing. Breathing in to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 5. So you're breathing into 5 and exhaling the same. Called samavritti. Become aware of holding any tension in the jaw, the lips, even in the forehead. Wherever you may experience tension in the body, once you become aware of it and breathe into it, more often than not, you will have let go of whatever it was. Draw the knees up into the chest. And then bring your arms inside and try to take hold of your insteps, even if your ankles are not yet able to get straight over your knees. But do your best. Your knees and your thighs are outside of your torso. So they're not pressing into your torso. That's why putting your arms on the inside of your legs help to widen so that your knees are outside. You're still getting a beautiful compression here in the ascending and descending colon, and you're trying to get your ankles directly over your knees. Happy baby pose, a very, very safe stretch. If you have tight hamstrings, this is the #1 pose to practice. If you can't get both of them, you could definitely interlock your fingers just around one of your legs and focus on one set of hamstrings on one side. And of course, you'll need to do the other side as well. But if you can take both, just breathe into that. That will do. Bring your hands underneath the backs of your thighs again, or come over onto your side. Roll up. Let's come over onto our bellies. And place your elbows underneath your shoulders and your forearms straight out in front. Flatten the tops of your feet. And now let your head just hang. And swing it in the yes and the no. Let the weight of your head stretch out your cervical vertebra. Inhaling, lifting your head back up. And then with your middle finger pointing forward and your fingers all pressing into the mat, slowly straighten your arms, coming up into a modified cobra pose. Again, make sure all 10 fingers are pressing into the mat. This will be easier if you have wrist issues. And allow your neck to curve into that concave position that is natural for it. One more breath in. Exhale, lengthen and lower all the way down. Arms beside your body, bring your legs together, forehead flat on the mat. Your palms are facing up and your fingertips are reaching towards your heels. Once again, press the hips and pelvis into the floor for Salabhasana or locust pose. Roll the invisible alley with your nose to lengthen your neck. And then on an inhale, lifting your head, neck, shoulders, arms, and legs coming up. Strengthening all the muscles in the back of the body, an area that we don't often think about or work out. We don't even look at it unless we're in a dressing room with a 3-way mirror. One more breath in, lifting up. Exhale, turn your head to the right. Let your shoulders melt. Big toes touch and heels splay out. Back bends activate the heart. They increase the circulation because we need the blood to get to all the muscles that are being used. Bring your head back to center. Legs are together. Arms are by your side once again. Pressing your hips and pelvis into the floor. Roll the invisible alley with your nose. On an inhale, lift the arms up Head, neck, shoulders, and legs. Bring the arms to the side and bring them forward, back to the side of your body. Bring them shoulder level to the front, back to your shoulders, back to your side. If you've got one more in you, shoulder level, in front, yay, back to the side, back to your body. Good work. Turn your head to the opposite side. Let those shoulders melt, big toes touch, and heels splay out. And draw your head back to the center. Bring your hands by your shoulders underneath, pressing up. Take your heels wide apart, big toes touch, and come into your modified child's pose, slowly bringing your hips back towards your heels. Remember, if you get any cramping in your feet, take your time, come back out, and slowly enter. And then if you're able, you're releasing your forehead onto the mat. Or, if need be, create height by folding your forearms one on top of the other. And breathe into your side and your back ribs. Inhaling, come on up onto your knees, curl your toes under and lift your hips up. And walk your hands once again back towards your feet. Let your chin be tucked into your chest and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, letting your head be the last thing to come up. And we'll do 2 more standing postures, and then we're going to do an interesting grounding touch exercise. So we won't spend too much time standing. Step your right foot back 1 leg length. Now, I want you to separate your feet more. So widen your stance apart so that you're going to be able to easily turn your hips, chest, shoulders directly to the front of your mat. So separate your feet this way. Okay, bend your front knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Warrior 1. Reaching and stretching up. Inhaling in place. Exhale, let's forward fold and bring your hands onto either side of the front foot. Now, are you able to straighten your front leg and keep your back leg straight? And if not, you can bend your back leg. But please relax your neck. Always remember, we're trying to release tension from the body. And then bend your front knee again and straighten your back leg and inhale and sweep the arms up. Take the arms behind you and interlock your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep the front knee bent, back leg straight. Inhale, lift your hearts. Exhale, forward fold. Reaching arms up, lowering your torso between your legs. And then release your arms and slowly come back up with arms straight out in front into warrior 1. Exhale, float your arms down and bring your back leg forward. And let's do the other side. Stepping left leg back and widen your stance. So make it wider so that you're not lining up. So you're actually widening so that your front foot, and then it makes it easier to turn your hips right to the front of your mat, right to the front of your mat. You want your hips, your shoulders, and your chest right to the front of your mat. Wait a minute here. No. Okay, there we go. So widen as much as you need so it's easy for you to have your torso directly to the front of your mat. Great. All right, bend that front knee. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, reach forward. So when you stretch before you fold, you may notice that you get a little more distance. And now, can you straighten your front leg? Parsvottanasana, front angle bend, lengthening your spine. So if you need to, you'll bend your back leg, but maybe both your legs are straight, and then bend your front knee again and inhale, sweep the arms up, bring your arms behind your back, really getting your chest open, shoulders back, yay. Inhale, lift up and look up. Exhale, lead with your hearts. Lead, lengthen, and lower. That's what we need to tell our leaders. Lead with your hearts, you bad boys. Maybe there's some girls in there too, but I think it's mostly boys. Okay, and release your hands and inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, float your arms down. Good work. Okay, grab a block or whatever you have to sit on. This is called grounding touch. Stress is unavoidable, but it's just so bad for our health. And Cindy Lee is I don't know, she's been teaching a long time in New York City, so she must know about stress. I was downtown Toronto yesterday. I was horrified by what I was seeing. I came back to the beach. I thought it was a different planet. And you know, and I saw things on the weekend too up in Goderich that disturbed me, and I'm trying to, you know, stay in my compassionate self. So I want you to get as comfortable as you can, sit as tall as you can, not too tight, not too loose. Remember, if you're sitting on a block, you want to bring yourself to the edge of your block. And also, remember I mentioned before, you can take your mat to give yourself extra height and comfort and roll your mat around your blocks, okay? And if you're not comfortable sitting cross-legged, there's another option, right? Okay, so close your eyes. And I want you to place both hands over your heart center. One on top of the other. Your heart center is the center of compassion. And just breathe. And now take one of your hands and place it on your belly. Feel the warmth. So one hand is on the center of compassion, the other ocean of breath in your belly. Just breathe naturally. Feel the warmth of your hands on your body and the calm washing over you. Now take the hand from the belly, place it on your forehead. Take the other hand and place it on your lower back. It doesn't matter which way the palm is facing, whatever is comfortable. And again, just breathe naturally. Tune into the feeling of your hands on your body. Your grounding touch. And then draw the hand from the forehead, place it back onto your chest, heart center, and bring the hand from behind and place it on top of the other hand on your center of compassion. Keeping your eyes closed, I want you to bring your hands in front of your face, and if you need to open your eyes to see for a moment, you're not touching. The hands look like they're almost coming into prayer position, but not quite. Inhale in this place, and on an exhale, bring your hands together, lightly touching. Inhale to separate. Exhale to bring them together. Inhale, separate. Exhale, bringing them together. One more time. Inhale, separate. And exhale. Rub your palms together, vigorously generating heat and warmth. And then cup them over your eyes, bathing them in this blue-black warmth. And then wash your face with your hands. And just for a moment, I want you to gently, softly, soft gaze at whatever's in front of you. Just soft. Not really seeing anything, but taking in everything. Inhale. And exhale, turn to the left, and again, soft gaze. Not looking at anything in particular. Inhale and exhale back to center. And continue over to the other side on an inhale, soft gaze. Exhale, come back to center. Just notice how you feel in your body, in every nook and cranny of your being. Oh, finally, I want everybody to think about smiling. First of all, start straight. And you can even make and then smile. And then go back. And then smile. And make that sad sack face. And then smile. The power of smiling is real. There's a pharmacy in our heads that release neuropeptides are larger than neurotransmitters, but they activate the action of releasing serotonin, dopamine, which, dope, it's funny we would call weed dope, because dopamine makes you happy. Now, it does a lot more than that too. But these are all these endorphins. And you've all heard of Norman Cousins, who had a horrible disease, couldn't move anything, stiffer than, he's dead now, so he's really stiff. But, he recognized that if he could laugh 10 minutes a day, it made all the difference in the world. So to that end, I have a little joke for you. This woman is being sued for divorce, and the judge says, "Is it true, Mrs. Henderson, that on July 23rd, you were seen traveling 65 miles per hour on a motorcycle through Peterborough, making love to a midget?" Mrs. Henderson replied, "Could you repeat that date?" I'm bowing to Mrs. Henderson. And you, namaste. Have a great day.